This week, we talked about Gone with the Wind and the series Cops getting pulled off the air in the wake of protests, and the ripple effect seemingly continues. The first daughter, Ivanka, had her speech to college grads scrapped. The TV series Live PD has been canceled, and stars of Vanderpump Rules were fired over racist tweets, and lots of other folks are getting called out for their past actions. And are they victims of cancel culture, or are they victims of people are not going to accept this anymore? What do you think, Yvette?
Well, you know, first of all, I think the word victim is pushing it a little bit. I feel that sometimes when you're horrible, there's a comeuppance. There's this thing happening right now on Twitter. Amber Riley from Glee started this thing called #Unmutiny. There's also something by Jared Hill called #Everyday. And then the Broadway actors that are Black and brown created #WeSeeYou. So there's all these people coming together saying enough is enough. And I think that what people forget is that no one is asking for better or more. We're asking for equal. We want to be able to go to work and get the same pay, have the same treatment. So anyone that is wretched and crazy, there's a comeuppance. And I think sometimes a comeuppance is very healing and very cleansing. So I support it.
Sonny, you say you feel this is a long time coming.
I do, because, you know, there should have always been zero tolerance for racially insensitive behavior at work, racism at work, systemic racism, implicit bias, all of these things. And I think for far too long, the folks who made the rules defined and diluted those terms. And those of us who experienced them didn't have a say in it. And so now I think what we're seeing is we have more of a say in it, and we're saying, no, these things are happening to us, and we won't stand for it anymore. And as Yvette said, you know, there needs to be accountability, not for what you're doing now, but for even things that you have done in the past. And I think that's okay, right? Because for far too long, people have hidden behind a certain amount of privilege, and I just don't think that that is fair to anybody. It's certainly not fair to them,
right?
That they haven't been held accountable.
Right. So, Megan, you think this could become a slippery slope if we're not careful?
Yeah, I think you got to take it by a case-by-case basis, which is what I've been saying all week. There's a difference between obviously wanting the Confederate flag removed from NASCAR and then wanting Paw Patrol to be canceled. And I was actually one of these people that was disappointed that and Paw Patrol's a children's show that as dogs in different, you know, Whoopi, in different characters. One of the dogs is a police dog. And I think I was one of those people that was really sad when Live PD was canceled, and they do a lot of good work with helping to find missing children. And I think I understand the comeuppance argument, and I understand there's definitely situations where you can't have any tolerance at all in any way. And then I think there are other situations where I just think in this moment, I want people to have more speech, more freedom to have important conversations. I don't want anyone to feel like we can't talk about uncomfortable things, because I think it's arguably how we can get into really dangerous positions. And I just think we need to take everything by a case-by-case basis. And each situation is different, and each situation can be more egregious and more hurtful and possibly less. Like I said, I just used the comparison between Paw Patrol and the Confederate flag. I don't think they're related at all.
Right, and I have to say, you know, one of the things that I really want to see happen is, for me, part of the big problem is people not acknowledging what their eyes are showing them.
Right.
Like, I don't want to disband the police. I want the police to be better. But the only way I'm going to feel like the police can get better is if they can recognize really bad behavior. And if you say, here is the bad behavior, and yes, we see it, let's figure out how we can all get together and fix it. I don't want the baby thrown out with the bathwater. I don't want just random stuff. But you know, one of the things that I feel has happened is people started calling things PC that were actually practical and important to people. There were things you could not say, things you could not you couldn't imply them to people because people didn't like it. And I think when all of that became so flexible and people said, well, that's PC and that's PC, it's like, no, I'm telling you how I want you to treat me. And I don't care that you don't like it. That's not my problem.
Yep.
I'm telling you what I need. And so if people start remembering and recognizing and understanding that you can't get away from the fact that we have an issue. And it is very clear that people have been pointed out, and, we had corrections officers, you shouldn't have to be worried about them. They're taking care of folks in jail. You got correction officers kneeling on somebody's neck to make fun of George Floyd. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see officers shoving folks. That's not what officers are for. Officers are here to protect us, not soldier us. We're not in a war. People in this country, we are not in a war. We are all American citizens just trying to make the country better. That's what we're all trying to do, and that's what I want to keep fighting for.